So welcome everybody to the Finance Committee meeting of March 6th at 5:30. We're running a minute or two behind that, but thank you for all for coming. We have an agenda of 7 items tonight. I know Pat Burns is on. He'll have item 1. So in terms of members of the Finance Committee, Zeta's on the Finance Committee. The other person is Tracy. I don't see her here, but we've got Zeta and me and a couple other counselors. So thanks everybody for coming. And Pat, why don't you kick it off for us?
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Tonight I'll be presenting the January revenue versus expenditure report. As you'll see in the agenda, there's a few items for transfers into the general fund budget, 1 coming from reserve for contingencies and 2 coming from certified free cash. We're working with the finance department and facilities management to try to put together a projection on our electricity and natural gas. And I believe I'll be coming in front of the council looking for additional funds for both of those line items.
So there are utilities that are running higher than anticipated.
We're fortunate that we're locked in on rates with our suppliers, but the delivery charge with Eversource, as we all know, has gone up.
All right. And do you have any projection? Is it going to be a big overage or something that's not that bad?
Yeah, I really don't have an actual number yet, so I don't want to speak to it and say it's going to be a small amount and then come with a large amount, but it's just because we have those rates locked in with the suppliers, it's not as large as it could possibly have been. Unfortunately, our contracts with those suppliers are set to expire next fiscal year, so we'll be building larger appropriations into next year's budget for both of those line items.
I was going to say so that our experience this year will determine what we put in the budget for next year.
Right. We're going to have to go with what we project to be the new cost per therm and the new cost per kilowatt for electricity once we enter into the new contract. So
we have 2 more years to 2025, Pat. We'll have a little bit of an increase. We're actually locked in on 2025.
okay, I had sent an email to Carol today, Pat, just confirming when that contract was going to expire. I was looking at it and it looked like it was 2023 on some of the accounts. So maybe we can get together and discuss that.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah,
and to Pat's point, if we had it locked in, we would have been over $6 million in additional costs for this year alone. So by locking in, we've saved tremendous amounts of money.
What? I mean, has there been that much of an increase? I mean, I don't notice it in my home. My bill's about the same as it's up.
Really? Oh, you're lucky, Counselor.
There were very, very large increases.
Yes.
Huge.
Okay, so maybe you guys can meet and then update us on this the next time you report, Pat, in a month as to what you think and what it's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, the more experience we have in terms of paying the bills, the closer we'll be on the number. So it will probably be an order that I'd like to put in front of the council either in April or May.
Yeah, so that makes sense. The Finance Committee meeting in the 1st of April or so. Can talk about it there and see how it looks. Thanks for pointing it out. Anything else of concern at this point from your point of view, Pat?
No, that's our number 1 concern at this point is the utility costs. We want to get our arms around that and come forward with a number.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions for Pat Burns on the report?
If I
All
may,
right.
Counselor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Theta. Yeah, I just wanted to comment, I guess, on what you commented on, that you did not notice an increase. All my constituents are complaining about the increase in their utility rates, both gas and the light bill. So I'm really glad that the city was smart enough to lock those rates in for the supply. But the delivery charge is what I guess is causing the increase as well. So I'm just wanting to bring that up and keep it in mind that many of my constituents are complaining about the increase in utility prices as well as everything else. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Zeta, for your comments. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on my bill. I don't know. Maybe it's a little higher, but it's not noticeably higher. Okay. Moving along to item 2. I think Tracy just texted me and said, hi, Tim. Are you on now, Tracy? No, maybe she was just saying, sending me a message. Okay. Item 2, emergency management performance grant, 92,000. Is that you, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So this is a grant from MEMA, the Mass Emergency Management Agency, to our fire department. And it is a grant that's going to be used to purchase equipment. It's a grant that supports FEMA's national preparedness goals. And it is going to be used by the fire department to purchase bomb squad equipment.
Okay. Is it something they normally get, or is it a new thing? Do you know?
This might be adding to what they already have. The Springfield Arson and Bomb Squad is the only active and accredited bomb squad in Western Massachusetts.
All right. All right, good.
Good to know.
Thank you for the update. Anybody have any questions for Lindsay or anyone? Not seeing any hands up in the queue.
I just, Tim, through Lindsay, is it an increase? Lindsay? The amount that we get?
They haven't gotten this specific, they've gotten this grant, but it's for different things.
Okay.
So this was a specific request for the equipment that they need.
Okay. So the request initiated with the bomb squad?
Through the fire department. Yeah, we
Through the-
submitted a grant request to the program through the fire department.
How many people are in that squad? Do you know?
I don't know how many people are in the squad, but I do know that since the beginning of 2022, the Springfield Arson and Bomb Squad has responded to 36 bomb-related incidents in Springfield alone.
Holy
Wow.
cow.
Do they go outside of Springfield if they're the only one?
I don't know the answer to that.
Will there be, you know, there be anyone there from the fire department, Lindsay?
Actually, no, it does say that while increasing public safety capacity for all Western Mass and any other region called to for assistance. So
Okay, thank you.
I don't think anyone from the fire department's going to be there, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Okay. We'll just move. Kate, are you all set with that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised there are that many calls for it.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, that was item 2. On to item 3. Greater Springfield Senior Services grant for about 87,000. Is someone here to speak to that?
Yes, that's going to be me again. So this is a grant for our Department of Elder Affairs. And the funding is for the program to provide services to persons over 60 years of age and or their caregiver. And the Elder Affairs Department strives to serve, excuse me, persons deemed low income, minority, or limited English speaking. And this grant assists seniors and caregivers in attaining access to services, resources, and to provide follow-up to ensure the needs have been met.
Okay, excellent. Questions of any kind? Sounds like a good thing to have. All right, not seeing any hands or questions. Let's move on. Thank you, Lindsay. Let's move on to item 4. There's a big item. Springfield City Library donation of $50. Thank you to the people who gave it, but is there anything else to say on it, Lindsay?
I do just want to, I'd like to say who it was from and
Yeah,
for.
great.
It was a donation of $50 from Martha Pappas in memory of Norman Van Tassel.
In memory of Norma Van Tassel.
Norman Van Tassel for the 16
All right.
acres ranch.
Okay, great. That's nice. Thank you. Any questions? We'll move along to the next item. There might be a little more to talk about in that. Free cash to Parks Department accounts for 475,000 plus. Pat, I assume you're going to be talking about that one?
Yeah, so this is to balance the budget to get through June 30th. There's just been tremendous market increases across the board for different supplies and materials. For example, for Clean City, we've had tire disposal increases go from $7 to $15 for disposal, 114% increase. Mattresses have gone from $20 to $50 per mattress. TV monitors, 50 to 75. Batteries from 10 to 20, and then the tonnage overall rate has gone up by additional 5%. Our golf course equipment is approaching 16 years. We have ordered new equipment. However, there's just delays at the factories due to still because of COVID, and it could be up to another year before. So we're trying to keep 16-year-old equipment operational to maintain the courses. On the plus side, we've had increase in merchant fees on both golf courses. We've had an increase of close to 3,300 rounds per course. So that is for the use of the credit card for that increase. We like to keep the city clean, so there's additional monies to do our annual spring cleanup of the city, additional mows and trims. And then just market increases on fuel, and then water and sewer increases as well. So overall, it's nothing we like to have to do, but to maintain our golf courses, to maintain this entire city, including our golf courses, we have to be realistic with these market increases. And unfortunately, I think everyone across the board is experiencing the same type of increases in their day-to-day lives.
Okay, thanks for the explanation, Pat. So this is a kind of it's all for the Parks Department, but it's many different items.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's all the individual line items to get through June 30th.
Okay, good. Sounds good. So some prices went up, some cleanup needs to be done, etc. Thank you. Any questions for?
Yeah. Zaida and I both have our hands up.
Okay. Zeta, why don't you go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question is, and first of all, I just want to thank Pat and his team at the Parks Department for doing all the work that you do all over the city and the parks. I'm really excited about that, and that is going to continue. So that's 475,000 that's coming from the free cash.
Yes, finance chooses that. I'll let Lindsay answer that end of it.
Yes, free cash.
And Lindsay, can you tell me what the balance is in the free cash, what's available?
Sure. So after if these two transfers go through tonight, the 475 for parks and the 100,000 for facilities, the balance of free cash will be 31.6 million.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Zeta. Catering, do you have something as well?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pat, I was wondering, are these outstanding bills, or are these, this is projection for future bills?
This is to get us through to June 30th, so we know what we're going to spend through June 30th. And to date, we've kept up, but we know what's down the road and what we've got to do to open up the parks and open up the golf courses. And so we don't have any vendors, but if this didn't go through tonight, then by April, we would start having problems to pay bills.
Okay, and the golf courses, have you kept the, whatever it is, the fees or whatever, the same?
Yes. Yeah, we're not having a fee increase this year on the golf where we went up last year. So, and we've had a great response. So, we're not the highest course in the area. And again, the park commission works hard to keep it affordable for our residents. And I think we're accomplishing that.
Thank
Just
you.
FYI, Pat, how much is it to play around?
It's a good question. With a cart and a greens fee, it's roughly like, I think $32 around.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thanks for your questions. Counselor Walsh, are you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm looking my little iPhone here for any other hands. I don't see any other hands up. Anybody have a question that you'd like to ask Pat?
I have a question, but not on this. It's on the revenue versus expenditure report. So we could circle back when you get through the items. That would be great.
Okay.
I didn't have the link earlier to get on, so.
Okay, no problem.
Thank
We'll
you.
circle back. Okay, moving on from item 5 to item 6, which is free cash to facilities. That's also you, Pat. Could you please explain that one for us?
Yeah, so that's a little less. That is to balance our snow removal budget, an additional 50,000, and for our water and sewer invoices. So facility does all the buildings across the city. So that would be fire stations, municipal buildings, Tapley Street, libraries, and we also do the snow. So even though we didn't get a lot of snow, we had a lot of ice events requiring a lot of sanding and salting across those facilities.
Okay, so again, it's the same concept as 5, just, getting enough money to get through the year and do the things.
That's correct. We work, monthly with finance and, watching and balancing the budget. So that this should get us through June 30th. On snow, we had the snow, the back-to-back this past week. So we might be coming back one more time for additional snow money.
Okay, yeah, because that probably wasn't factored in. All right, anybody got a question for Pat? Oh, I see that Tracy's hand up. Is that for circling back or that for this, Tracy?
So snow, we didn't have that many snowstorms. There wasn't enough budgeted in the budget for.
No, it was all the different icing events. We had a lot of sanding and salting that we had to do.
Okay.
So that's what that difference is covering, that just to cover those sanding and saltings that we did across the city.
And how much was that?
It's an additional 50,000.
To cover, so
So
those.
we do all the lots for the, you figure there's over 80 municipal buildings across the city. So that's to cover all those buildings for sanding and salting. And depending on, a lot of times those events were like for police, fire and so forth. So you're just on top of it to make sure those buildings are kept safe.
How many incidents on ice, sand and salt events did you have to do?
I believe there was about 12 to 14, Counselor.
Really, I don't remember. I don't remember, but maybe like.
Oh, you can get like a little bit of rain, and then if it drops below 32, that's creating a situation where you've got to sand the areas. And one slip and fall, you're going to spend over 100,000 just on a slip and fall. So it's very we err on the side of caution, so we don't have any lawsuits or anything by not maintaining those public facilities.
And how much do you normally budget for each season?
I don't have that line item. I don't know, Lindsay, if you can help me out with that. I don't have the full budget in front of me right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I have it handy. Hold on, let me see.
But just while Lindsay's looking that up, this is separate from the DPW budget.
That's
Right.
correct.
That's correct.
This
So
is just,
this is not
This is
DPW.
just facilities.
It's just
Budget.
facilities taking care of our own parking lots and things like that.
yeah, I know, I just was confused because I remember that many ice storms, but I understand what Pat is saying.
If they're not storms per se, they're just that you've had weather events and then the temperature would drop at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it includes like city building sidewalks and stuff like that, stuff that DPW might not necessarily go out for.
Yeah, DPW does not maintain any of these areas. So
Okay,
they're your library walks, your library parking lots, your police department. You know, there's 3 sites across the city for the police, the fires, some of the fire stations. The park, you know, there's a crossover for park facilities with facilities, city hall. So there's a lot of area to be covered and to maintain to ensure that we don't have any slip and falls.
definitely
So
no,
we're-
Who does the schools?
We do. My department oversees the schools, but that's budgeted in the school side of the budget.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
the
So-
facilities budget for the, sorry, Pat, for the past few years has been 119,000 for snow
For-
removal.
removal. And so
That-
this
Thanks, Lindsay.
70,
I'm sorry.
this is gonna be 170? Is this
It'll,
for all?
correct,
the-
it'll bring it up to 170.
To cover all the past ones, so if we have some more, hopefully we don't going forward.
Well, if we get a March blizzard or really any more storms in March, I will be back again for snow.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Anybody else on this one? Finishing item 6. Don't see any hands up. All right, thanks, Pat, for answering those questions. That gets us to the last item until we circle back. Transfer from reserve for contingencies to procurement for 60,000. Is that you, Tracy, or excuse me, Lindsay, explaining this, or?
Yes. So every couple years, we do come back to the city council for a transfer into procurement's advertising budget. So we are doing that this year. We're transferring 60,000 from our reserve for contingency line to cover any costs for upcoming bids that need to be advertised through June 30th.
So this is to put in their advertising budget,
That's correct.
which is used for all positions from all over the place. Yes. I mean, procurement does the ads for no matter
Correct.
what.
Yeah, for anything that needs to be bid, yes, yeah.
Right, that's what I mean. So, okay. Questions from anybody on this? All right. I don't see any hands or questions. So, okay, that completes the agenda until we'll cycle back for Tracy. She had a question on item 1, the revenue versus expenditure. Pat, you're still with us, right? Yep. All right,
Thank you.
Tracy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pat, I just had a question about the pension and fringe benefits line, because it looks like it's like 83% spent, where we would probably be right around 60% spent. So what is causing that to be so high?
That is the annual pension payment that we make on July 1st. So we make the entire payment on July 1st. So it's skewing that number upwards.
Okay,
And that's, I think
okay.
I should know the number off the top of my head at this point, but I believe it's approximately $50 million.
Oh,
Addition-
Oh, there's an additional 15 million. What is that for?
That's pretty much for health insurance.
Okay,
It also includes like workers' comp and unemployment, but the lion's share of that is for the city side health insurance.
and that's paid on a monthly basis?
Yes,
Okay, all right, and then free cash to reduce the tax rate, is that all of the free cash we have been talking about in the tax rate setting meetings?
Right, that was the 3.5 that we budgeted at the beginning of the year, and then the additional 6.5 that was appropriated when we were setting the tax rate back in December.
Okay, everything looks good though, like pretty much on track.
Yeah,
as
it's very similar to this point last year, which is a good sign. So I did, Counselor mentioned that I'm gonna be coming back after I work with facilities management to request more money for our utilities, our natural gas and our electricity. So
Okay.
hoping to have that for the April meeting.
Yeah, but everything else, the departments are doing good with their. But that's the only question. I just didn't understand really the pension one.
That's a good question. Thanks for bringing it up. Okay, I think we're done unless somebody has another item or something to discuss. We've covered the agenda. Not seeing anybody. I'm sorry. I didn't understand that. Somebody said, oh, that's just me. I always can't stop talking to myself.
Motion to close.
We're all set. And you got a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in an hour.
Later.